we are going to move to Heidi Jannenga, and Heidi actually has a different business model. She's doing more a SaaS business model. And let's listen to Heidi's story. Heidi's company is one of our case studies. As you know, those of you following the program, we have a lot of case studies that we are teaching you the program through. So Heidi, welcome to the program, and take it away. Your audio is not coming through.
Sorry, I'll take myself off of mute. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here again and to share the WebPT story. Also echo a lot of what Vikrant had said about 1M1M and sort of the philosophy behind it, and I'll just add to, my kudos of your support of women entrepreneurs. More and more data is coming out that, women who are entrepreneurs or even in the C-suite of companies really add so much tremendous value, and the actual financial profitability of companies is actually that much higher. So we just need to keep pushing and get more and more women out there doing their thing. So I'm proud to be able to tell the WebPT story so you can move forward. My name is Heidi Jannenga. I am a doctor of physical therapy. I'm the co-founder and president of WebPT, which we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. So it's hard to believe that it's only been 10 years. I feel like this startup phase and now into hyper growth and a couple rounds of funding later, we should count those years in dog years sometimes. But so we've been lucky enough to have quite a few accolades along the way, including being listed on the Inc. 500 list or 5,000 list for the last 5 years in a row, crossing our fingers for number 6 this year, which puts us in a very coveted category of only 7% of American companies who are able to achieve that status. So super excited and proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But it all started, next slide, with an idea. I'm actually a physical therapist, and if you move to the next slide, I'm a physical therapist, and I was working as a physical therapist and also a clinic director running 3 practices here in Phoenix, Arizona. I had P&L responsibilities, and one of our largest expenses was transcription and dictation. And so my idea was to try to find a solution that would cut those costs. And a lot of our referring physicians had started using electronic medical records, so we thought there had to be something out there for physical therapists too. And when we did our search, we found that there really wasn't. There was definitely nothing web-based, and if any of you have ever been to see a therapist, you know that we don't sit behind desks very often. And so having to be tethered to, an office or a desk space was just not feasible for a workflow of a therapist. And so I partnered up with a technology co-founder, and we decided to build something that originally was just supposed to be for my practices. And so we got it up and running, and we were getting very positive feedback from the therapists within my practice, and some of my colleagues in the area also started to sniff around and say, hey, what are you doing over there? I've heard it works really well. So it took us about 9 months to build version 1. With just my practice, and then within the next 6 months, we had 10 other practices up and running and using our platform, also giving us very positive feedback. And so we did a little market research at that time, and we found, and this was back in 2007, we found that 80% of the physical therapists in the United States were still documenting on pen and paper. So light bulbs go on, and we had, recognized that we had stumbled onto something. So we decided to launch the company in February of 2008. We were all bootstrapped at this point. This is actually our very first office, which was the back of a storeroom in the back of a coffee shop. So we had 1 employee. We launched the company in February of 2008. And we sold 5 clinics that very first month. And then every month after that has just been our next best month. So if you advance the slide, we've continued to grow. In 2010, we basically had bootstrapped up into this point, and every month we had to decide, based on our revenues for that month, you know, what was the highest priority for the organization. Did we need a new technical support rep? Did we need a new server? Did we need, you know, a new sort of opportunity or a marketing opportunity that we had to put money into? And so we had to make these decisions, basically living hand to mouth, putting all of the money that we were making back into the company. Now, we were profitable, but we were slow to grow. And what we recognized very quickly was the demand for our product. We couldn't keep up with the demand for our product. And so we decided in 2010 to take in a small round of funding. We did local pitches here in Arizona to angel groups, and we ended up doing a deal with a local group called Canal Partners, which was led by Jim Armstrong, who was the founder of JDA Software, which is now a multi-billion-dollar point-of-sale platform that he started in his garage 30 years ago in Canada. And so not only did they bring financial support to the organization, but we had this amazing entrepreneur who had, you know, basically lived through what we were doing as somebody who is now an advisor and on our board. So key takeaway, you know, if and when you decide to do funding, it's not really about just writing a check. It really has to be about getting resources and opening up doors for other opportunities that you might not even know exist through the experience of others. Another key takeaway was that we needed the money because we couldn't keep up with demand. And so what we were able to show through financials, not only were we bootstrapped for, you know, 4 years prior to that, but we were already profitable. And so we had a model in which we knew customers wanted to buy our product, and we had a significant greenfield opportunity in front of us in which we were able to show that 80% of the market was still available to us. Next slide, please. So, you know, we continued to grow. We turned that $1 million of investment. We actually had $1 million in revenue run rated at that point, and we took $1 million into the company because we were already profitable, and we had a very good trajectory and market opportunity. You know, we gave a very small percentage of the company away at that point, which I think is another key point whenever you're looking for financial backing. We turned that $1 million into 17 in 2 years, and so we used that money very well, judiciously making right decisions with that money, and as you can imagine, our investors were very excited and happy with, you know, what we had accomplished. When you have the SaaS metrics that we had in terms of the percentage of inside sales converting, our marketing leads converting into inside sales, and the potential greenfield opportunity that still existed at that point, you get a lot of VC, venture capital, and private equity attention. And so we held everybody off for quite a few years. But in 2014, we decided that we wanted to swing for the fences. We, again, did not need money, but we were growing super fast and recognized that there were changes that were happening in compliance, there were changes that were happening in the market, that if we were going to really meet our vision of, you know, dominating and getting full market share opportunity within and fully disrupting our industry, that we would need to, again, do a second round of funding. And so in 2014, we went through a process with a banker and ended up doing a deal with a top-tier venture capital firm out of Silicon Valley called Battery Ventures. And that was about a year-long process, and it was not easy. You know, we had assembled a very good management team at this time, in which we had a CEO that had raised capital previously, which was very key because we had to keep our eye on the ball. because at any point in time during that process, if our numbers started to dip or if, things just went south for any reason, that completely could change the process in terms of valuation of the company, or, their trust and their ability to see the trajectory that you were on. Luckily, we continued to crush it, and we landed a deal which not only put money into the company, but also allowed us as founders to take some liquidity off the table, which really, again, we had now in 2014, we had been running for 6 years at that point. And again, I know that doesn't seem very long, but in startup years, it's a grind. And so the ability for us to relieve a little bit of the pressure and not be afraid to make risky decisions for the organization was really important. We remained second largest shareholders behind batteries still today, and so this potential second bite of the apple is something that I am gunning for. So you fast forward to where we are today in 2018. We now, in 10 years, we now own over a third of the market share within the rehab therapy space, which includes physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech-language pathology within the U.S. We have the opportunity for international expansion, but really our growth has now been through M&A. So having this financial backing has helped us to grow tremendously. We just closed a major acquisition at the beginning of 2018. We now will close 2018 just over $80 million in revenue. We have 500 employees, where Phoenix remains our HQ, but we're in 8 other states where we have hubs that have amazing WebPTers around there. So the evolution of WebPT definitely continues. We're not done by any means, but it's definitely another stage of the company, which has just been fantastic. And you can't imagine the learning process that has happened for me, starting out 10, 12 years ago, running a 50-employee private practice physical therapy company to now running a 500 company, multi-hub, multi-million-dollar business has just been an amazing, amazing ride. So how do we do that? Part of it, next slide, is from the beginning really, and this is only because I'm going to introduce you to a concept called conscious capitalism, which is nothing political, I promise you, but really it's talking, because capitalism in general is about companies that are for-profit companies, and the gist of this is really that profit can be used for good. It's not necessarily only about what you see in the headlines, but it really consists of 4 key components that from the very beginning we embraced. And so part of it was from the beginning we had a very strong purpose to our business, and that was really around staying focused in the rehab therapy industry, because that was our core competency and niche. We had a lot of opportunities to move outward and increase our market size, but the $6 billion market of rehab therapy, seemed big enough to us at the time, and now niche plays are really where it's at. And so when you're able to kill it in a niche, and become the dominant player, have the largest market share, that's meaningful, very meaningful for opportunities in the future. And so driving this higher purpose of embracing and empowering therapists to achieve greatness, which is our mission, around a common set of core values, which I shared in our previous broadcast, and happy to share those again for anybody who's interested, which were established in the beginning, which I'm most proud of, because now even at 500 employees, those core values still are what we live and breathe by in the organization. The second one is really around making everyone a stakeholder, and that includes, this means that you are not just driving towards a board and making decisions based on what the board is going to think. This is really, everyone has decision-making power and input power into the organization, from the employees to a community that we're actually existing in. Third is really around conscious leadership, and this is really about servant leadership. and bringing people on that are like-minded in terms of understanding the importance of culture in a company, understanding, the importance of having this collaborative atmosphere. We just hired a new CEO in October of 2016. Her name is Nancy Ham. She is a consummate leader who's been in healthcare IT for many years, and I just can't stress how important it is as you're bringing in senior management within your organization that you have people that truly fit your culture. And that speaks for any employee, but definitely at the leadership. She's been an amazing addition to the team and has just helped our trajectory significantly since coming on board. And then last is just to really build, and now it's really about for us is maintaining our culture. Culture is going to evolve over time. It's not exactly how it was back in 2008. It can't be. We moved from 2 employees to 500, and lots of senior management leaders now in the mix. But the core and the foundation of who we are is still there, and that's what I think is, again, been as a founder, because those core values are pretty much born out of you in the beginning, have been sustainable and scalable through this growth path that we've had over the last 10 years. Next slide. And so, at the end of the day, I'm obviously a very large organization now. We hate the word corporate here. We still kind of stick to our startup roots. Innovation is critical for us. In our 10-year celebration, we're having a 10-year, all-year anniversary party, and one of the really cool things that I love that came out of our marketing and event group was innovation with the I and the O switched to a 10, because it's such a big part of who we are. And so that passion around rehab therapists is part of the foundation of our organization, but that has to be passed down through everyone in the organization. That same passion, that same drive towards a common vision, a North Star that you have in the organization is critical, especially as you start to grow fast. And we've been able to do that. I mean, it's really remarkable when I go down and spend time with our tech support teams, and they are able to have conversations with our members, our customers, as if they were therapists and have the same passion as I do. And this is really this is why, as we talk about conscious leadership, it's really about embracing the we and not the me mentality. That this isn't, you aren't in a silo. We really talk about this as, from the beginning, we call our customers members because we wanted to build a community around what we were doing. So whether or not you're using our platform or not using our platform, you can still be a part of our community, because we, in our marketing efforts, have launched significant amount of educational opportunities in which we've established ourselves as thought leaders and a go-to resource, which, at the end of the day, when you are ready to buy an EMR, we want to be the first one that you think about. I alluded to this earlier in terms of committing to your community, and this is how we think about it in terms of our stakeholders within our business. So of course you have your customers, of course you have your board, and of course you have your employees. But how many of you think about vendors or the community in which you reside? We're in the Phoenix Warehouse District, which is initially it was an area that was forgotten. It was a bunch of warehouses. We thought it was cool because it was we could do what we want with it. It was very creative, open space where we could have tech teams and creative folks feel like they had a creative space to come to. And so all of these things embody who we are as an organization, and we talk about it in terms of rising tides raise all boats. When you're empowering others, they're going to empower you. So partnering with other vendors or folks in your community that help promote you, to help word of mouth, PR, right? All of these things that get your brand, your organization, your company's name out there puts you in front of a lot more folks that potentially either could buy your product, or it also helps for us with recruiting. I know probably all over the world finding technologists is not easy right now, but when you have a brand, you have a culture that people talk about, and your reputation, that really stands out. And the more people that are talking about you, the better opportunity you have to bring the best top talent that you can into the organization, and that's what we've been able to do. And again, partly why we've had the success is all around the people, which is, I think, the next slide. And so when you find great people, it's important to empower them. You're hiring them for a reason. You know, for us, it's 50% your skill set and 50% your cultural fit. And the skill set is critically important. And as we've grown, it's really become more specialized in skill sets. When you're in a more startup mode, it was really around how many hats could you actually sustain and what was your change management tolerance, right? Because things were moving very fast and you had to one day be on the phones with customer support and the next day, you know, you might be learning HTML to help with the website. And so having those sort of people that are able to move through and feel comfortable in chaos, really important. We're now in a stage where it's very specialized and we need people that really have expertise in areas as well as entry level, but people that are able to pass on their expertise. And one of the things that we talk about from a leadership perspective is really empowering people and giving them autonomy in their roles. You hired them for a reason. Make sure that you have the expectations laid out clearly, but then let them run. And so finally, you know, as an entrepreneur who's been through a lot of phases in an organization in a very short period of time, you know, some of the things that I have learned over this last 10 years specifically is really about this is a grind. There's no way about it. You know, Vikram said the same thing. Like, it is hard work to get to where we were. I know sometimes it seems easy, and 10 years goes by in a flash. And when you look at from the outset and you hear all the numbers, it's like, wow, how did you make that look so easy? It wasn't easy. There was tons of sacrifice, lots of hard work, lots of mistakes and failures along the way. So understand that people who've gotten to a place like we have really worked hard to get there. And be patient. You know, things don't happen overnight. We've had some, you know, stars align in terms of compliance things with the government which helped sort of put us in the right place at the right time. And there is luck involved in successful startups. There just is. There's things that have to happen, and timing is everything. And lastly, just get out of your own way. You know, I think especially for us, for me as a woman, and potentially other women entrepreneurs out there, you know, part of it in the beginning was me living this imposter syndrome of jumping from a 15-year career into software, which I really knew nothing about, and not believing in the skill set that I brought to the table was going to actually fit a completely different industry. But when I finally stepped out of that and was able to have some quick wins and understand that the skill set that you bring to the table was immediately fitting and needed in a growing business, I was able to get out of my own way and really help just push forward and get the company going. And so a lot of times the negative talk that we end up pushing too hard sometimes slows us down and creates barriers for ourselves. So sometimes you just gotta get that out of the way, stop hearing that. Find mentors, find people that truly believe in you, and that will give you sound advice. Not people that just want to tell you what you want to hear. It's really important to be able to take constructive criticism as well.
Fantastic.
I believe that's the last slide, so thank you.
Very inspiring, Heidi, and your points are all really interesting and important points. Giving luck a chance to play means that you have to give runway to luck. If you quit, or if you think that luck is going to hit you within the next 3 months, that is not a runway. You're not giving luck enough runway to play. But if you give luck 10 years, 12 years to play, luck will probably find its way to your life and you will have a shot at it. So thank you. Great presentation and very inspiring points there.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.